What's going on? Welcome into TFEs alongside my husband, Dalen Cuff. I'm Kelsey Riggs Cuff. We're trying to start things off a little less awkward than you say that I normally do behind the scenes.
We already did the awkward part. What do you mean?
It wasn't as awkward.
Okay, maybe I just didn't look at you this time because we've talked about it last time. So yeah, we're working on it. We're getting better.
I don't know how to get through it. It's now in my head. It's something that I think about pretty much every time we sit in these chairs. Is like, is he over there judging me? What is he looking at right now?
I think part of the problem is the chairs. Honestly, like my arm when
Oh,
I sit
now
like
we don't
this,
like the
I feel
chairs
like,
anymore.
Well, no, I just feel like I'm like in an uncomfortable manner, and then if I'm like this, I feel like it's like an aggressive.
I mean, I feel like I'm pretty cozy.
Yeah, you look comfortable, but I'm not uncomfortable. I just, it's maybe contributing to the awkwardness at the beginning. I'm just.
I like our sheep chairs. I think pretty soon Dace is going to be coming up here and baaing at him as he's getting good at all of his animal noises because they do look like sheeps. I'm also comfy because have you heard of Princess Diana weather?
No.
That's what's happening outside. It's when you get to wear like crew neck and not leggings. You get to wear like spandex shorts and socks. It's like the Princess Diana outfit that she used to trot around in.
Wow. This lady, 30 years ago, about 30 years ago, she passed. And she still has an effect on fashion.
Yeah. That's what I was just went before. I was like, wait, is it Princess Diana weather or Princess Diana outfit that I wanted to look up? Because when I put this on, I was like, I'm in my like Princess Di mode over here.
Your princess era. Can I just totally hijack this thing for one random thing where you said
Sure.
Dace is going to be banging at these things? My mom made us lamb one time. We were growing up. Have I told you the story before?
No.
So
but I wasn't expecting to hear that come out of your mouth just then.
So one time I was probably, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, something. I don't know. And we've already, I think, gone over this pod how Lyra also has it, as do I. A odd obsession with repeating the same things over and over again when they get stuck in our head.
Mm-hmm. I think your son has it too.
Well, my point is, it didn't come from me. So my mom makes this lamb, and I think Dad had we had to spend a weekend because we were all home, and he'd asked like, "What's for dinner?" And she said lamb, and he's like, "Bah." So he bass. She says, "Shut up," or something. She just like laughs. We all laugh, like laughing. Next thing you know, he's walking around the house, bang, like, nah, bah, I'm ready for dinner. Just like next thing you know, there's all 5 of us walking around like a grazing bunch of sheep, just bang around the house. Mom never made lamb again. Just had enough of that whole performance that day from his entire team walking around, bang, and she just, I'm done. I'm not doing this.
I've
again.
never related to your mom more because I could totally see if I was the one who ever cooked dinner, me doing the same thing just to avoid the little runaround of the 3 of you guys doing that.
I mean, I don't even know if it was good. You can ask her about the story next time, but she remembers she's like, I never did it again. That was literally, it was all day, just incessant bang in the house.
I have a really dumb question that I'm scared to say out loud.
Sweet.
Are lamb and sheep the same thing?
No, but you said
okay.
Bang, so my dad was bang, and I'm like, is that the right thing? I don't know. As a little
the
kid,
whole time you were telling the story, I was like in my head, like, is this the same animal? And then you use lamb and sheep, and then I was like, oh God, wait, what?
I don't think their noises are that different. I don't know what we say for a lamb, but in our house,
a lamb doesn't have this kind of wool like a sheep.
There you go. Who knows? The meat was good as far as I know.
Okay.
There you go.
Let's do some TFEs off the top.
Why don't you start? I feel like I'm always starting.
Not
to be accusatory, but go ahead.
Skirt. TFEs off the top for me. Thoughts. Loving the weather. Made me.
You love the summer. You love the weather. It's like.
Well, it's been cold and rainy lately. And to be able to walk outside this morning without a jacket, without bundling Dace up, without a rain jacket.
Oh, you're just saying today. I thought you were thinking more like.
Yeah, I mean, I love.
The week has been not good.
You're right. I love the summer. I do like fall. The thing I hate the most about fall is I know winter is coming.
There you go.
And I'm so scared, not scared, but I just hate the snow so much. I do like the fall. I am like a 91-year-old woman calling everyone in my phone book still every year, telling them that they've never seen leaves this color, orange and yellow and thing. As I said green there, here, let me derail myself for a second. Do you know that, I've probably told you this before, me, my mom, and I think only one of my sisters, maybe both of them, we have this weird thing with green and orange. Like I was just trying to say orange and I said green. Like I know that sign is green, but when I go to say it out loud, my brain says orange. And it's with those two colors. It's so weird. And we talked about it when we were younger and then found out that my mom does it and one of my sisters does it too. So I was looking out the window at the leaves and I was trying to say orange and I said green. That's not a great example because obviously a leaf is green. But isn't that a weird thing that we would all have that one thing with color? It's not like a color blind. Like I know what color it is, but it's like this mental block where the wrong word comes out.
Yeah, I mean, that is strange. I'm surprised it's spanning generations here.
It's hereditary.
It's hereditary.
What does that mean?
That your
is there
brains are
anybody
both
out
dysfunctional
there
the same way? I don't know. Dysfunctional is a strong word.
Yeah, I was
have
like,
have a quirk, have a weird. Well, my brain, like the word convenience. I can't spell convenience when I write it. Can't do it.
Why?
I don't know.
What do you spell? How do you do it?
Convein. I think I do it in a different way. Like right now, I'm struggling. Convenience. Convience.
I think it's Convenience.
You're proving my point. My brain cannot retain how to write that word properly. I never do it. I don't understand why.
Because your brain retains everything.
That word, I can't learn how to spell that word properly and write it down. Every time I write it in some email or something has to be checked. Or it's
I before E except after C.
Okay.
Wait, have you really never heard that?
Oh, no, I have heard that, but I'm like, how does it apply to here?
IENCE.
But this is my problem with the word. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay.
But anyway.
Interesting. Brains are big things. Okay, so orange and green are hard for me, but I am calling everybody that I know, telling them they've never seen leaves this beautiful in the fall. So I do love the fall up here. I hate the winter. That's just like the fall in the beginning when the leaves are changing is so beautiful. It's still like, it's brisk, but it's not like, oh my God, where is that like huge jacket and boots that I bought last year? So walking outside today after it's been cold and rainy and just yuck, the high is 63 today. I thought it was like a nice morning. It put me in a good mood. And what it did.
Good.
Dace was all chipper. You and Lyra seem like you're in a good mood. So good day out at the bus stop in front of the good old house this morning. Those were my thoughts. Thanks for laughing at them.
Well, no, I was laughing when you said like you were all chipper, and I was like, how was I this morning? I don't know if I was reflecting the same thing she thinks, but okay. Okay.
I thought you were pretty chipper. Dace slept great, so you were pretty chipper. Feelings and emotions. We'll go feelings last because I think we'll get into that more. My emotions are grateful to be sitting down doing this podcast with you and talking through some things, and grateful for a day off tomorrow. I'm looking ahead, need to be present, but kind of have a crazy day today. And then tomorrow, I'm grateful that we made time to be present and do some things that we need to get done because we've just been all over the place. And ever since we got back, we've been working. Feelings, I feel like I have been super anxious lately, which is something that we're going to talk about more, is just anxiety as a whole. But for me, it has like presented itself in like a million different ways lately, and just about like dumb things and big things and real things. So I feel like that would be the overarching feeling for me. Like right now in this moment, I don't feel anxious. I feel pretty good right now. But I think that's been probably a bigger thing for me lately.
Okay. Next time you can say, hey dude, we have a plan for this pod. I'll go last because I can lead into anxiety.
It's okay.
Okay.
I'm just following your lead over here.
You don't have to. I don't really know what I'm doing most times.
That's good.
So, okay. First and foremost, I will have to say I'm, a dude wearing a jersey again. The US
My
team.
friends had a lot of thoughts about that.
What was the thoughts about if being maligned? How about they malign? They can malign me to my face. What's
Okay,
the thoughts?
well, I'll tell them that they need to.
Okay, give me the take.
I think that they felt that your take that like men and adults can never wear jerseys was a little strong.
Oh, so the personalized name on the back they're good with.
Sometimes.
Okay.
I still don't love it.
Okay.
So I'm with you on that one. But it is interesting because you are a man wearing a jersey again today.
Well, this is a U.S. U.S. team won last night. The team's starting to look better in form and move toward the right process. We were 8 months from a World Cup.
But last time when it was Arsenal, you were saying, well, it's not a real jersey. It's a warm-up jersey.
Well,
so is that why we're okay?
No, I'm joking around with a man in a jersey. It's the same exact thing. This was the warm-up top from their 2014 World Cup team. So when they warmed up on the field, they wore this jersey and then
So warm-up jerseys are okay.
No, you're missing the point with the jerseys. I don't think you listen very well. It's the name on the back is the problem. Like Arsenal's shirt was an Arsenal jersey that they wore that in games last season. I didn't have on my back Cuff or Gyökeres or Odegaard or any other players on my back. It's just you're repping the team.
Okay.
Team shirt. So this is like, this is actually like a warm-up top for their was never a game jersey. But my point is the U.S. won yesterday. That's my freaking point. And we're playing better. Starting to play with a system. Looks like we might have not have a shot to do I don't know what. But baby steps. Very negative about 6 weeks ago. Feel better now. Anyway, I digress. I feel like it had to be addressed. I'm surprised your friends went hard that take. I thought they were going to be like, yeah, why are you wearing that shirt? Kind of what you were just doing there. Like,
yeah, no, they were more focused on the bigger picture of you having an issue with jerseys with names on the back. Because you don't even like, I don't like the personalized ones. And I guess unless they have like a special meaning, like we talked about last time. But like if you're walking around in like a McCaffrey jersey or something, like I feel like you're supporting the team and like, okay, like you're not his wife, his cousin, but that's your guy.
But I get it. Well, this is the problem too. What team does that guy play for? And what jersey was in your mind?
Well, I know that was the next part that I was going to get to.
Answer it for our audience.
When we're walking around Charlotte, 2025, and the only jerseys on game day that I see walking around are Greg Olsen, Christian McCaffrey, Luke Kuechly. We got a problem, guys.
But see, there's two different things. Two of those guys have retired for different reasons. McCaffrey's played for a different team for 4 years now?
Well, rub salt in the wound, but okay.
But that's the point. Let's take it another step further. If you're going to put another man's jersey on your back or woman's jersey on your back, that better be a lifer for that squad. If it is Hines Ward for the Steelers. It is Bettis played for the Rams for a couple years, but everybody recognizes he's a Steeler.
Here's the thing.
If it's Troy Polamalu, fine, lifetime Steeler. When you have a guy that's played for 2 seasons and you get a Lima Swede jersey, you're like, who the hell's Lima Swede? My point exactly. Terrible second-round pick like 10 years ago. People still wear. Why would you get that jersey? It's got to be a lifer. Otherwise, then you're wearing a jersey for a guy that plays for a different team.
No issue with people buying Christian McCaffrey jerseys when he was there. Zero issue whatsoever. Christian McCaffrey.
But as soon as he's gone, that jersey is retired. He's not on your team anymore.
Well, here's the thing. You know who I blame more than the fans for these jerseys?
Who?
David Tepper. Do better. Field a better team that people are excited to buy their jerseys. Christian McCaffrey's been playing for San Francisco for how long? And the jersey that fans are still wearing is Christian McCaffrey?
But don't wear the jersey. That's my point. Well, wear a T-shirt. Wear anything.
It's kind of
wear the jersey.
You know what? It's actually a protest to the team itself because it's like, you guys are not good enough for me to buy your jerseys. Did, do a couple good things lately, but we're not going to get cocky about the Panthers. Won a couple games.
There's the thing about the protest, though. There's no protest because you just spent how many dollars?
No, that's a jersey that you bought however long ago.
But you went to the game, so if you're at the game,
the amount of money you're spending, ticket holders.
But you're not in protest of anything. You're still funding the enterprise. Protest is sitting on your couch at home wearing your McCaffrey jersey and not spending any money in the marketplace.
Well, you have no idea. We saw those people in the streets. They could have just been leaving the bar.
We're 2 blocks from the stadium. We saw 800 people. They were not just leaving the bar. I digress.
Do better, David Tepper. Let's go Panthers.
Yeah, let's go Panthers. Okay. Thoughts. So I said this to you last night, and I think this was, in the last 15 minutes where I had some time to think is where I came back to it. But there was this, I sent you on Instagram. It was like the difference between rest and sleep.
No,
and this guy was making this point. I forget his name. I think his name's Jason Wilson. He's a guy that he deals a lot. It sounds like in like therapy, kind of our space here, talking about thoughts, feelings, emotions, primarily men, a lot of times focused on black men and not having the ability or space to say what they're feeling or show weakness or do a lot of things that I've dealt with in my life and have talked about sometimes in our pod, but sometimes like in therapy, like the spaces in which we grow up, there are certain archetypes you think you're supposed to fit. The strong provider, never weak, alpha male, whatever it may be. So in life, a lot of times, his argument is like, men are performing. You're not allowed to just be whatever state you may be in or confide in those around you about what state you are, or especially act in public in a way you may feel a certain way that doesn't fit the mold of what you're supposed to be. So his point was, he was just saying like, because last show I started with, I'm tired. And I am really tired today. But there's a difference. I think he was making the point of sleep is an unconscious state by which your body and mind are trying to recover. Rest is a conscious state by which you are taking time to sit and think or feel or do whatever, but your body and mind can rest, and you are conscious of what you were doing, and you are making time to do that. And he was saying, like, it's not this is when I think maybe touched home. He's like, it's not a flex to say, like, when my head hits the pillow, I fall asleep immediately. He's like, that more along the lines are a sign of exhaustion. Like, your body, there's no unwinding. Your body just collapses at the end of the day. Does that sound familiar for both of us? so I guess I was thinking about, like, all right, how do I find time for just a little bit of rest, which allows you to think, which allows you to maybe process what you're feeling, allows you to just be for a moment in whatever state you are in. It's really hard to find that time. So I was thinking about rest. So that leads me to my feelings piece, I guess, was pretty introspective. That's why I think it was funny when you said, you seemed pretty chipper this morning. Because what I was thinking is, like, have I been in this negative rut? Like, do I need to be and feel more positive and try to manifest that outwardly? Like, am I showing up the way in which, is good for you, is good for Lyra, is good for Dace, as much as I can, like as much as without, to the word he said, without performing. Like, it's not a performance, but I do think in our industry and our lives, like, that's, performing is, we've had this discussion right too. Performing is a crux of what we do a lot of times. Having to be on. So maybe less of not being authentic, but having to be on.
Can we just pause for a second for my hubby over here that is just like doing this reflection and thinking of something like, not like profound, but pretty impactful and meaningful. Just hit me out of left field with this. We haven't even talked about it. I appreciate you.
Well, thanks, babe. That's very nice. That's another topic, I think, for the show one day. What do we need to hear and what do we want to hear in the communication, and what do we need to say in communication separately? So I think that was like that introspective feeling, I guess. And because Dace laid down 20 minutes ago and I sat there and drank my shake, I thought for 15 minutes. And this is what I came up with. So this was having the space and time to think, I guess. So in that emotion, I guess, I feel though, like a little unsettled, because I'm sitting there thinking, it's weird. I was sitting there thinking, and as I started to think about the things, I was like, well, all right, well, I need to do this differently. Should I do this differently? And it was just like, it was a weird, like, push-pull where they're not quite aligned. Like, the space that my mind was in was not actually where I ended up, because I was like, okay, well, these are maybe some, not conclusions to draw, but like actions to, or how do I make this more effective and productive for me and my family?
That's good. I would not argue, but I would say that as you're talking about that push-pull, that's exactly like what we want to get into, because it is part of that push-pull, the anxieties of how am I not showing up, or what am I not doing? Or like when you let your brain think, okay, I need to do this, is that a result of because I'm not doing this? We watched Inside Out 2 with Lyra yesterday.
Over 2 days.
Yeah, over 2 days. We finished it yesterday.
I will come back to why I said that, but go ahead.
I have never seen Inside Out 1. So we skipped right ahead to Inside Out 2. Didn't find out until we were already watching Inside Out 2 that she also has only seen Inside Out 2 and never 1. I had never seen either one.
That was her first ever movie in the theater, by the way. Too.
Yeah, Inside Out 2. I remember that.
Her and my mom went. It was fun.
Yeah. But I had never seen it. Loved the movie. Mm-hmm. Thought it was awesome. Can't imagine what 1 is about, because 2 was really, really good. And the way that they try to explain feelings to a child without forcing it on you, and then revealing also other feelings as you grow and evolve, and in Inside Out 2, lot of new feelings come up as this child is hitting adolescence, but one of them is anxiety. So basically, Inside Out, there are all these different characters, and each of them is a different feeling. So there's joy, there's sadness. What are the other original ones?
Disgust,
anger.
Now these are characters in the child's head.
Yes, but they're characters in the movie, and they're inside the child's head. So each time you see these characters, it's like you're getting a look inside the child's mind, or sometimes it cuts to the parent's mind, and they have all the same different emotions, same emotions that just look a little bit different. They look like the parent. I thought it was a like really brilliant way to kind of dumb things down for kids of like all of these things are happening in our mind. And then it was cool because I'm sure the experience that you didn't get in the movie theater was talking about any of it. We paused it a lot because Lyra's at a great age where she's processing a lot, questioning a lot, talking to us about a lot of different things. And for me, even as I say, I feel like I've been really anxious lately about different things. I'm seeing these little characters as joy is trying to take the wheel, but anxiety is taking over and planning. No, we need to think about 12 different things because these are all the scenarios that could go wrong. And if we plan for all of these things, then we can be ready for it. And then basically it takes the kid over while joy and all of the other first emotions are there. I thought it was not just like a great way to have conversations with Lyra and have her process all this, but even as an adult, I was like, this is good.
I think the best thing for an adult on this is you're trying to explain it when you pause it or at the end of the movie in a way that makes sense for a 7-year-old, soon to be 7-year-old in 4 days.
Yeah.
But trying to answer her questions and make it make sense and talk about anxiety and talk about these different feelings, knowing damn well we don't have it completely unlocked ourselves. So you're trying to
I'm sitting there, we're explaining it, and I'm like, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning last night because Dace was crying, and then I just couldn't go back to sleep because my brain wouldn't shut off.
Yeah.
And here I am trying to explain anxiety to her and how like it can happen, but if you let it get too big, while I was spiraling the night before at 4:30 in the morning about God knows what.
That's a great visual in the movie where anxiety is literally spiraling and the kid is having a panic, like paralyzed, having like a panic attack. But that's, for a kid, you're trying to understand why. And as an adult, you're like, I think we more recognize the feeling of that and being like, okay, this is not, it's like it's like visualization of what we may feel sometimes and how debilitating it can be. But to explain it to a child is really hard and try to quote unquote have the answers for them when we don't have them ourselves. Like that is parenting in itself. Like a lot of times you're trying to explain, but you don't know how things are going to be. You don't know every answer. But I do think that, the movie is really well constructed, but that particular thing of anxiety, I think hits home for a lot of people, but particularly like where we are right now, both of us trying to deal with different things that we both were ironically answering her questions while also trying to process it ourselves.
Yeah. I think the visual was really good too. I mentioned all of the different emotions, but also it takes you back into the child's mind, and there are things that she has locked away in the memory bank, and then there are all of these things that Joy is doing, trying to force all the bad memories to like go away. And so that created a conversation of like, okay, sometimes things happen and what do we learn from them? It's just really interesting, like you said, being a parent, or in this case a step parent for me, and trying to like I look at my parents when I was younger, and like there was nothing they didn't know. Like from a child's eyes, you know everything, you have everything figured out.
Wait, is your mom's different now? How?
Sorry. I still look at her like that. I mean, actually, in a lot of ways I do. Whenever I need anything, I'm calling mom and dad because they got to know what to do. I was spiraling a little bit last night. What did I do on my drive home? Told you about it. Called mom and dad and talked to them. So good point there. I know you were kidding, but actually. But, as a child, you just have this innocent view of the world, and you think that your parents know everything, have everything figured out, have already lived this like whole life. And like, we're just also parents in our 30s and 40s. Mm-hmm. 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 Living life for the first time too, and trying to figure it out and enjoying being a parent and figuring out the hard stuff of sides of life and loss and work. And like, you just don't realize until you get older and have that perspective that like, oh, okay. When you're in someone's shoes, which it's really hard to put yourself in someone else's shoes, that changes. So trying to explain it to Lyra while realizing we're watching this movie, also figuring it out for ourselves, I think was kind of profound for me, just to like see it play out, speak it with her, and then also know that you and I have been talking about it, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm so anxious about a million different things lately.
Yeah, I mean, a couple things. First of all, one of your parents being right. I feel like growing up, my dad was no matter what I asked him, there was an answer, and it was said with confidence, And I realize it now, like sometimes he would say, you got to fake it till you make it sometimes. Like he was like the corporate world sometimes. He was talking about like, you know, say things with confidence, live up to down to your expectations, all these different things. But as I got older, I realized like, especially early on in being a parent, like that was a bit of a disservice. He wasn't always right. Mm-hmm. He would just say what he thought, and then I took it as fact, which also isn't healthy. And in today's world, kids can start to look stuff up, and then you're wrong. So it's like a different at that point. Then it became, I'd be arguing with my buddy. Well, my dad said. Well, none of them are right. None of them are right, or maybe one of them are. We don't know. But the whole point is, I do think I always felt like I was, and I will say to Lyra, like, I don't know. Let's look it up, because I do think you're almost doing a little bit of a disservice if you portray that you have every answer and you're always right. I don't remember my mom being the same way, but for some reason I remember my dad just very much being like that. I do think with, and that's something as we get older too, you realize like as your parenting styles and as you become parents, like it's like any good leader. What would you take from those, and what would you leave from others? Mm-hmm. There are some things that I want and have carried through my parents. There are some things I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. Let's do this a little differently. One thing with Lyra that I feel like I'm becoming very cognizant of right now, and will be so, I guess, more so with Dace, is a little bit of what Joy was doing in that movie, of hiding all the darkness, anything that's bad, anything that's negative, that conflict, almost like trying to overprotect the kid from Joy being her brain. I'm doing that. I feel like at times I may do that with Lyra, and like trying to now make sure that she, and we talked about a lot last night, like we learn from things that aren't good. We learn from mistakes we make. We learn from mistakes others made and hurt us. We like all those negative things, like have to be discussed and have to be realized that those are going to happen to her, and not try to protect her from those type of things, but make her like understand them. She took it to a different place yesterday. I didn't tell you this. We were driving back from a play place with Dace in the car, and I don't know what was sad, because obviously she's about to be 7, and I was being a little, kind of bummed about that. And I was like, I think I said something like, before you know it, you'll be a grown up little girl. Oh no, that's what she was asking. What's a tween and what's a teen? Like, she's like, am I a tween? I'm like, not really a tween, but you're getting close, and a couple more years.
How did you even know that?
LOL dolls. That's how we got on that. So tween, and then she'll be a teen. And I was like, next thing, then you'll be a young lady, and you'll be a grown up girl, grown up woman. And she's like, oh, I'm not ready for that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not either, because daddy will be old. And she's like, I said something like, I'm not ready for that, because you'll be old, daddy will be really old. And she said, oh no. And then I don't want to say it. And then if you're old, like she won't say the word death anymore. Like this is an interesting phase she's going through. Granted, you don't want to think about
just
your parents.
Say the D word.
Yeah, she'll say, your parents you don't want to think about your parents passing. And she said she's like, yeah, I don't want to say the D word. Da, da, da. And I was like, why I bring that up is, that is the absolute extreme, but there are other things, like I was thinking about that too afterwards. Like at some point we'll have that conversation as she gets older. Like how I view parenting is when, ties back to what you're saying, when I am gone, she will feel like she is ready for this world. Like that is the job done. That if we're no longer here, they feel equipped and prepared to handle what is going to come to them in life and how they will deal with life. Will they miss us? Will they want to call and ask a question? I hope so. But the goal is that they are prepared.
I couldn't even say that.
So, and I do think, I think recently I've been like, I so focused on like having fun. Is it joy? Is she doing this? And yes, she's still little, and he's super little. Mm-hmm. But I do think like reframing a little bit for myself, and I was like saying this for us a little bit about like changing the mindset to preparation, because that's where I feel like my dad's whole mission was always preparation. Like that was the whole thing. Like from the early age, why do you work so much? So you can go to school and get an education. Like that was drilled into my head. And then after a little while, it's like, well, if you're really good at the sport, maybe you want to keep playing, maybe you can go pay for your own education, and that'll be good. But I think there was, I think that like he over indexed on that, whereas I think I over indexed on all the other stuff. And the preparation piece, I think, needs to be like ratcheted up. I don't know how I got there, but there you go.
Yeah. I didn't know we were going there either. You find a way to like make my eyes water every podcast that we do. Because I think you're exactly right about being a parent. And as you were talking about your dad, you reminded me something that my dad always says, which always makes me emotional every time he says it, because I don't know if it would be when I would just say, like, I don't know if I was just when I would tell him that I would love him. And this is like as an adult too. And maybe it was when we were talking about health or different things. And I would say something about like needing, and needing you to live forever. And he would always say, well, I'm not going to live forever, baby, but you're going to be okay. And and I would be like, well, but you can try. I really want you to try. And he's like, oh, I'm going to try, but I'm not going to live forever. And you're going to be okay. Which I think is similar in a way to like what you're saying about, just preparing. You want them to be prepared to do life and be successful in their own, but you also like, I guess in a way prepare them for what life is like without you, which is like sad, but also just, I guess, part of it.
I don't like, that's what I've been thinking. Like, I don't know if it's part of it. I think that's the job.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's like I've been thinking about more like, yes, I want to enjoy the process. We talk about enjoy life and have all these fun memories and moments. But ultimately, like, I want them to feel like that they're going to have a successful life because they're prepared, both academically, emotionally, from a relationship standpoint. Like anything you can teach them and impart them that'll help them along the way is the goal. And so whenever they get to these different life milestones, that they feel like they're ready for them individually, and they can consult you. And then one day when you're not there anymore, hopefully they feel confident that they got the information necessary to carry on without it.
You're a lot more comfortable saying that out loud than I am, because I can't even like say these things out loud or hear you talk about like their life without you or anything without crying, because I'm a crazy person.
Well, that's not because you're crazy. I do think life experience factors in here. I think losing my father provides a perspective that's just different. Like, I think that's, one of the sad realities of that is this is even worse. If this all goes well, they'll be speaking at our funerals. That's how it's supposed to work. I can't imagine the opposite of that. But people live that too. That's where it's like, that is unconscionable to me. It's supposed to be this way where they send us off. Yeah. And that's where I guess the difference is, I guess, having done that with a parent and been hoping to carry on some of the things that he taught me. And everybody goes before you want them to, and he definitely went before I wanted to.
Right.
And my mom's still here and doing her thing, and she's going to be 82 in a month and a half, which is exciting. But I mean, I feel like she's still there to counsel me and help me. She's still been part of that especially over the last couple of months. Like, this is her job's not done. Nobody's done till done. But I think I have obviously a little bit of a different perspective in my experience.
Yeah. I think in some ways it probably hardens you too, just because like you've been through it. And not necessarily hardens in a bad way. You're just more realistic about it. I also have said before, I think like when God made me, he gave me 12 extra doses of empathy. So like these tears aren't just like thinking about what could happen. Like, as you talk about your loss, it hurts me for you, even though I didn't get to know your dad. I think I've decided I should probably just plop a box of tissues down in the middle of this table next to our little guy. I thought we were talking about anxiety. Next thing you know, I'm over here crying.
I obviously don't say these things to make you cry. And
I know.
I think harden's a good word because
I'm just a crier.
Well, no, there are times where I get really emotional about my dad's passing and him not being here anymore and things he won't get to see and experience. And a lot of that is tied to our kids. And a lot of it's tied to them not being able to spend any time with them or impart some of the same things to them that he has to me. I think when it's different, I think the mode or the feeling that I'm in right now is I think about like Lyra and Dace is much more, I feel like way less nurturing and like loving in this moment as we're talking about it. It feels like a task. And that's different. And it's like, I don't know that's comes off as hard or harsh, but it's just like, I don't know, the way I'm feeling in this moment as we have this conversation, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think we started the conversation with it being pretty like raw and introspective, and how do I just like be present and be there. So it's interesting that like as we talk about it more, you're saying like as we shift kind of the focus of the conversation, it feels more like a task and more hardened. But I think that like both parts are probably true at the same time when it comes to parenting. I think there's anxiety surrounding that and parenting as well, because I mean, what's crazy is if you're sexually active before you're married, you spend your time trying not to get pregnant and worrying about getting pregnant.
I was like, where is this going?
I know. Yeah. I knew you were. I could see your face. You were like hiding it. Like, is she saying sex?
Also,
she knows that her family listens.
Well, actually, if you're sexually active before you're married, which just made me laugh. But
not everybody is.
I know not everybody is, but just the way you said it, and I was like, okay.
This is so formal. Okay, where do I need to sit up
exactly.
straight?
Yeah,
Let me get a tie out the closet.
Get my body right here in my jersey.
If you're having sex before you're married, you worry about getting pregnant. And then you get married and you worry about if you can't get pregnant. And then you get pregnant and you worry about staying pregnant. And then you have the baby and you worry about the child for the rest of your life. Yeah. It's a crazy, like the biggest blessing of worrying ever, in my opinion, is getting to worry about, care for, have anxiety over a child. But it is crazy because I would like make jokes about it early when we were pregnant with Dace of like, oh man, like, and when we first had him, like spend all those months worrying about getting him here, and now he's here, and now I'm just going to worry about him for the rest of my life, because you do. It's part of just being a parent. But I would always say too, like, you think about like being a parent, and there's so much you don't know, and there's still so much we don't know. I feel like every child changes you, every experience changes you, and you grow with them. But there, I think, are a lot of like insecurities and anxieties around that, because it's like, am I doing this right? Am I doing enough? Are they prepared enough? Or should Dace be in preschool already? Should he be in the TWOS program 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 5 days a week?
5.
Like, you're so rude. Do we need a nanny? What does that look like? Well, if we have a nanny, then like, how am I not showing up as a mom? Because then I feel like if I have the time, I should be doing it. Or it's just all of these things that can literally create that spiral that we saw in Inside Out 2, where you just like cannot get control of it because it takes over. And for me, at least at 4:45 in the morning the other day, the crazy thing sometimes is like, I know the things that I'm thinking about do not matter in that moment. And I can even tell myself that.
That's what I was going to ask you. Go ahead. Keep going.
And I'm sitting there telling myself, because when I was younger, I did have I had a real fear of dying or my family dying. Like when I was a little kid, I can remember like not being able to go to sleep and running in the kitchen crying and being like, but Mom, Dad, like what happens if something happens to you? Like, and they would have to, I'm crying. They have to put me back in bed. And this is not like a 4-year-old. This is probably like a 7-8-year-old. So that was like a real fear of mine. And then as I got older, there were different ways that I feel like I had anxiety, or that I knew like, I've had some like weird heart palpitations when I was little, when you feel things, not when I was little, when I was in high school, when you feel things happening with your heart that can send you literally into a panic attack because you're like, what the heck is happening? So I've had different things like that. So I know when there is anxiety, like, okay, what can I do about it now? Is this realistic? Is this going to change in the moment? I wish I can't even tell you the like specific thing that I was thinking about the other day. I don't know. It was something so silly. And then it spiraled from one thing to the next, and to work, and to this, and okay, what about Dace, and this about me and you, and this about Lyra. And like, as I was sitting there doing all this, I'd be like, okay, this does not matter right now. If I send this email or don't send this email, it doesn't change anything. If I do this at work or don't do this at work, what's the impact? And I can talk myself through it. But then I felt like literally like the movie where that little character was grabbing another memory and being like, but this could happen, but this could happen. And like, I would put one to bed and then something else would pop up. And at that moment, I was just like, okay, I'm taking a bunch of deep breaths. I'm like telling myself that this isn't a big deal. And it wasn't like I was spiraling, having a panic attack. It was just like, I want to go to sleep and I can't shut my brain off. And it like wouldn't stop. Does that happen to you? Is it just women? Do we just sit here and lie awake about like, things that are about to happen, or I don't know, things that happened 3 years ago that just pop into your head?
Well, I don't know if this is difference between the sexes. I know there's difference between me and you, and I've heard this in other relationships as well, is that I feel like when you're in that spiral, it's of stuff that's either of in my mind, I'm not trying to be rude, but may not be the biggest consequence. And also the bigger thing is sometimes like, yeah, but you are worried about something that may not happen and may not happen for 8 or 9 months. Like we are really projecting out something that's affecting you in this very moment. And we've had that conversation before. I don't know.
Just this week about a different anxiety that I had. We were like, well, we don't know what's going to happen later on today. So just take a deep breath.
Yeah, I think there's I can understand people when there's anxiety. It's not about understand. Anxiety and nerves about something that's happening that's imminent. It's like, what's going to happen here? What's the answer to this? We need this notes, and then we can figure this thing out or what in the next 12, 24, 36 hours. That it doesn't have to make sense to me. But then it's like, okay, let's try to maybe game it out. If this goes here, maybe we can do this, or we do either way. It's all going to be okay, and we have ways to handle things, and it'll be all right. When it is things that are way down the road, I'm like, whoa, this is dangerous. What the hell are you talking about? Like, I don't know how to help then. I don't know what to do.
Way down the road doesn't even have to be like 9 months. It can be like 4 hours from now, but you don't even know if it's happening.
Well, exactly. That's something. If that's like, and also I do think there's an element of this too. You already said with the character, like, well, what if this happened? It's worrying about all these different negative impacts. Usually, it's not like, oh, what if this happens? And it's beautiful and positive and awesome. There's that scene in the movie where she starts writing out positive memories to like make Riley go to sleep, to have her project these things to make her relax.
A cat. Very off topic, but helpful. Okay.
There you go. Yeah. Number 18. I like where you're coming from.
I relate to number 18.
So there's that element too, that they're always negative. They take us in the spiral of bad things. Very, very rarely we ever cocooning ourselves in all the positive that could come or the good outcomes that could be. Because it's almost like we don't let our brains go there. It's easier to go negative. It's easier to go down that path and then try to prepare for what could be bad versus what could be it all good or even neutral. Some outcomes are just like, okay, let's figure out what's next now. So yeah, I don't tend to do that a lot. Obviously, there are things that for sure there are times where I can't go to sleep either for whatever, and thinking about different things or thinking about this problem. They usually tend to be more immediate. They usually tend to be things about like work, and that's usually where they end and begin. But yeah, I can see you've verbalized before some of your spirals, and I'm like, holy shit, this is a lot. Like I don't know what to, and then I don't know what to do, and then I feel bad. I'm like, I don't know.
Welcome to my brain.
Yeah, it seems like a dangerous place. But you're not unique in that, unfortunately, and I think more people are struggling with that than aren't.
Yeah, I think I've tried to like do a good job of at least when I'm in that spiral, especially if I know it's like unrealistic or something that I don't even know if it'll happen. I think one of the keys is talking about it, which I do. Like whether it's verbalizing it to you or my friends or my sisters or my parents, like it does help. It's weird how much just like saying something out loud can make you feel better. It doesn't even have to be something that you didn't know. Like, yesterday, I had a really tough day, and it's an hour drive home from work. I was in a mood, and I could barely even like get on the phone with my parents without my like voice cracking out of nowhere. I wasn't calling to like be like, I'm having a tough day, but like as soon as you start talking again, it's your parents, it's your safe place. But as much as like I don't want to be emotional because I don't want them to worry about me. And my dad said on the phone to Dace this morning, it was so funny. He's talking to Dace and he's like, I think we're coming to see you soon. Your Hap said we're coming to see you. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm happy to hear it, but that's my fault because I was spiraling yesterday and now they're worried about me. So they want to come up here for me and also see them, see the kids. But, as much as you don't want somebody else to worry about you, it goes back to like it being a privilege. Like it's a privilege to get to love somebody enough that they let you in enough for you to care.
Yeah. And we should, those people in our lives are few and far between. There aren't that many. I do think that part of like, I don't know, part of parsing through a lot of these things, and personally, like my little journey here is finding out who those people in your life that do care and that you feel comfortable sharing with, because it used to literally be nobody. And it was therapist, then it was some friends kind of trying to figure out where people are, then it was you, and even then, like my mom listens to the pod, and like there are times, especially in the last couple of years, like I've shared more with my mom, whether she's ready to hear it or not. Like, because again, I think, talk about a worrier. That lady worries. She's a gold medalist in worrying. She's an unbelievable worrier. So you don't want to freak her out, but they also want to like confide in her or tell her or have her help you or thinks or thoughts or whatever, versus always wanting her to think that, like many other, her son's doing fine. Her son's doing great. Like there's, that's not always the reality of the situation. And I do think that's like finding those people and being able to have those conversations versus, I do think a lot of people will just bitch to people that they're not that close with. And then what you get coming back a lot of times is somebody being like a half-assed response or not caring, and then that can hurt you more, or trying to give you advice and really not understanding you, really not knowing you, really not connected to the actual issue of the problem and just weighing in. And then what's weird about that sometimes too is then I think people then take that and like, well, Joe, who I work with, said blah, 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 blah. But does Joe know you? Does he know the situation? Like, is he really connected to this? Or that influence, is that helpful in you dealing with what you're dealing with? Or if it's a partner, dealing with what you and your partner are dealing with? I think guys do that a lot. It's like you'll complain about, especially in relationships, you'll complain about your wife. And she always say, don't do that. I have zero complaints, by the way. Others will complain about their wives or whatnot. And then you're weighing in on that or just airing it out, and then everybody's complaining about different things, especially as you're going through different parts in a relationship. Then you begin to take that, and if you're put them in that box of like, well, this is their relationship, and then you go tell your spouse, well, and sometimes you may feel better.
But what's the alternative? Because you want, especially men, to be comfortable talking about real things and real issues in relationships with other men. You don't want to feel like you can't complain if there's something you feel.
I think complaining is different than like just not complaining. I guess it's a different thing. It's like if you're talking about an issue you have, like it's a real thing. I think we're talking about, not he leaves the freaking cabinets open. I'm not talking about that.
Well, he does.
I'm talking about when it gets to a point where somebody's like, to your point earlier, like, yeah, man, we haven't had sex in 4 months. Okay, that's a real problem. If you're saying that in the right crowd, like let's parse that out. Let's get into do you think that's a situation with you, with her? How are you guys? Like, then you start to ask some questions, try to understand, versus being like, oh man, dude, 4 months? 4 months? That's terrible. That is no good, man. You need to go to Cartagena or some other stupid response you get from somebody or whatever. Then you've not had any constructive conversation. Then you feel worse about your relationship, feel worse about your situation. It's how do you, again, it goes back to initially what you said. How are you finding the people that you're sharing with care and are giving you some real thoughts? And I think that is the challenge, to find those people to really confide, especially for men, confide in those issues that are really problematic, that are personal, that then you can have a real conversation with and hopefully improve, versus complaining in a group of people where you only know half of them, and then they're all bitching together. That happens all the time. Mm-hmm. But if you throw something really real on the table there, that may not end up well for you.
I'm glad that you don't have any complaints, but
zero,
especially not that one.
Absolutely. Well, that one for sure. Weird.
You went there, so I just was gonna.
You did. Given the audience, this is strange.
You brought it up. We're not gonna. Can
I ask you a separate question?
Yeah. Now I'm scared, given that this is the topic that we're on.
No, I'm off this topic. Okay. There was nowhere constructive or productive.
You're like, our parents are listening.
Unless it's mine, your entire family. So you mentioned before the anxiety. I definitely took it into a parenting piece of that too. How much more challenging is it for you being like a stepmother to Lyra, where you are obviously, I'm co-parenting with her mom, so it's a separate thing that we can't control. We kind of manage through and deal with. But you're also dealing with me and how I view things and how I talk. Like, do you feel like it adds stress and anxiety to you to have someone like myself? At times it's like I may be protective, or I think it should be a certain way, and because I'm her dad, then it like does that dynamic make it harder for you, challenge some things for you, make you try to figure out how to say things? Basically, a lot of people go through that too, I imagine, but what's your experience? I
think that's an interesting question, because I don't know that I've really ever, I guess I can't say ever, but I haven't felt that way. I don't feel like you act like that. I mean, there's certain things where you're like, this is how we cook the food. This is how I talk now. Like really superficial, dumb things that I'll be like, you don't you don't have to be the one to do that. Like, I mean, cook the food, yeah, but you know, little things like that. But when it comes to big picture things, I feel like you have been like very willing to listen to my thoughts or to let me weigh in. Now, there are big things that happen that I will always take a back seat to you on when it comes like to parenting her, because you are her dad. She has a mom and I am her stepmom, and I only want to be an additive person in Lyra's life. I know that, you know, like there's just a different role that I'm lucky enough to get to play in her life. So there's certain things that, you know, I always hear you out on first, or want to hear what your thoughts are, or school stuff that we were just talking about. You know, there's certain things that's like, what are you feeling, thinking, wanting to do here first, and then if you're open to hearing my thoughts on it too. But yeah, I really don't feel like that. So I think it's an interest. I don't know if you just asked that question because you feel like you do that to me, or because you feel like others can relate, or
It's both. I feel like at times, I'm sure others can relate. I'm sure people have,
yeah,
you know, that is something that I can't relate to. So I'm wondering if that's a little bit of a delicate dance. And I'm sure there are times where I'm like, I want it to be this way, or I think it should be this way. And that may put you in a hard spot, because I think it's very different. We have the very same conversations with Dace, because I think it's a certain way. You can say, well, I don't think so. And then there's an equal footing of a conversation to be had. Whereas I feel like if I'm saying this, probably is putting you in a place where, okay, can I push back? Or should I push back? Which I think is probably a hard place to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, I think it's different, obviously, because there is always a part of Lyra's life that I don't know, because I wasn't around for the beginning of it. And there is always a different level of love and parenting that comes from being parents to a child, and from the way that a child feels about their parents. For me, I get to love Lyra. You just do love Lyra. Mm-hmm. Like, Lyra was born and you loved her. Mm-hmm. But as a step parent, I get the option to love her and be in her life. And that manifests itself in a lot of different ways. But to me, it's a different, and I think this could be a completely different kind of conversation, because it's not like I don't make the choice to love her. Now I do just love her. But it wasn't like she walked into my life and, oh my God, I love you. Like, you're going to be my boyfriend's daughter. And then now you're my, like, no, that doesn't, for me, it's a gradual process of love. For you, it was instant, because that's your daughter. Mm-hmm. So when love is a choice, I think is maybe a whole different conversation that we could have. And it's not even a choice, like, but it, you know, it's something that you just feel, but it's not something that happens in an instant. So I think I am grateful for the role I get to play in her life. And there are definitely things that I think, like, as a woman that maybe, or an emotional woman that, you know, she's opened up to me or talked to me about, or that, you know, I think, okay, maybe Dalen, should we approach it like this, or say this, or whatever. Even last night when we were talking through the movie Inside Out, and we had paused it afterwards, and I was like, you know, I think we paused it, and I was like, okay, so like, what did you learn from that? And you were like, oh, good question. Like, I'm not uncomfortable asking her a question, or you were saying some of the things you thought, and then I don't have this thing in my head of like, how is Dalen going to interpret this? Like, I feel like it's a very like safe, mutually respectful place, because I also feel like I respect the role that I have in her life as her stepmom, and someone that gets to love her and make an impact on her life.
No, it's good to know. That's why I asked the question. I guess I could ask without a microphone in front of our face, but it seemed like the right time to ask.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting, because you don't make me feel that way. There are certain things that I just like feel like, out of respect, I'm like, okay, this is like taking your lead, or, you know, it's a conversation, a co-parenting conversation that you're having as well. But yeah, when it comes to big things like that, I don't think I feel that way. I was trying to think if there was anything else with anxieties that
we've gone all over the map.
That we need. We really.
You cried.
We've cried.
A lot has
We've
happened
talked
here.
about sex.
We didn't really talk about sex, but
I know you skirted right around it.
would you like to discuss this?
No, not right now. I'm sure one day we will. I've already let the family know. Sex will probably be a topic before now. I'm trying to find something on here before.
Sounds comfortable for me. Can't
before
wait.
we go.
Very excited about that.
It's part of life.
I'm aware.
Trying to find something for you, Dalen, on my phone, and I would like you
Is
to
this
just
more ick-oo crap or something?
No,
if it is, we
no,
can shut
no.
this pod down later.
My friends already told me I gotta let the F-oo go.
Thank you.
This might be something that makes you want to say that, though. I just want you to look.
If you find a way to bring up this woman
I'm not.
that's a singer, I'm walking off the set.
Her name's Taylor Swift, but we're not talking about her.
Walking off the set.
I just want you to look at this and react just cold to what's on my phone for the people at home. And then try to describe it as we process this together. Here you go.
You're just going to show it to me?
Mm-hmm.
This is a good audio medium.
Just wait for it, the suspense.
What is this? Faux hair micro string thong? Why does anybody want this? And why did you find this?
Because Skims just released this and it was in my inbox right before we sat down. And I'm like, we are now making a thong that has fake hair on it. What is...
Correct me if I'm wrong, because to your point, I've seen some good old school porns in my day from the 70s and 80s. These full-on bushes were in vogue at one point in time. You can have these back in real life. You don't need to fake
Is that
hair.
what we're doing? I don't know. I mean, Kim Kardashian has, they're billionaires and has built this crazy company with Skims. She just recently put out bras that had fake nipples in them. And you know what? Like, I would even let that go because sometimes like nipples are a thing.
You want to show some nipples, so that's why they're there with the fake nipples. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know why you wouldn't just show your own, but maybe somebody has some that they don't like or they don't protrude enough.
That's what I'm saying. You're trying to accentuate your nipples showing. Yeah. Okay.
I don't understand the goal of this.
I'll tell you what, it ain't appealing. So I don't know I don't know what's going on with that. Like, why is that a good thing?
I don't know.
There's lasers, there's waxings, there's all these businesses around removing said hair. You want a fake hair on a thong?
And then what happens?
On your
situation?
situation?
It's just on the underwear that you're wearing.
I'm
gross. Sorry, I saw it right before.
Well, actually, that might be
down.
the best reveal of all time. If you think you have this massive jungle down there, and then all of a sudden, you don't. It's a much better experience, I imagine.
It's terrible.
What?
Okay. I don't know how to get us back on the rails after that. After I saw it, I was like, I have to bring this up and just get what your reaction is.
What rails we trying to get back? This seems like a kicker in terms of a television show, if ever. This seems like how you end a show on a high note and you just move on. Like, that doesn't be attached to anything. That makes no freaking sense. And watch them make $1 billion off it because anything they do makes money. I don't understand, but what do I know?
Bush on, bush off.
Yeah. Heavy bush on there.
TFEs podcast.
For 30
done.
For 30 some bucks, you can have a fake bush.
Oh, all right. That's going to do it for us. Make sure you like, share, rate, and don't just share the podcast, share your TFEs. Don't send us any feedback on the Skims, though. We don't need to talk about this ever again.
By all means, I want to hear your take.
Oh,
I want to know if somebody likes these things.
If somebody has a reason.
Defend your stance. That's what I want to hear. I want an explanation as to why this is beneficial for you to wear or for a dude
Kim
to
Kardashian, explain yourself.
see. Yeah.